Acceptance. Sometimes this can feel like an insurmountable task. We think that accepting means we approve or condone it, but this does not have to be the case. When we learn to accept a situation or the feeling for what it is and stop resisting, it no longer has power over us. We have taken back control of our emotions, our mindset, and our actions. So as we go deeper and listen to our bodies, allow yourself to accept what you cannot change and know that you can choose what controls you. Will it be outside circumstances and influences? Or will it be that still small voice within, guiding you and reminding you that you can choose to reconnect to that inner peace whenever you need? With that in mind, join me and some fluffy friends for a sunset flow in a charming little field in southern Corsica. We are going to begin seated on our heels in Hero's Pose at the back of the mat. Hands reach up to the sky and come down to the heart. Let's take a big deep breath here and remember our intention of acceptance. I accept who I am and where I am in this moment. Let's lift the hands up to the sky and fold forward into Child's Pose. Breathing deeply, and let's tuck the feet, lift up into Downward Dog, and just pedal out the feet, getting some motion into the legs. Rolling forward into plank and back into Down Dog, and just doing that a few times here. Getting some motion into the spine. Rolling forward to plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Deep breath in and exhale, lifting the right leg up to the sky, bending the knee and placing it between the hands, coming into our Pigeon Pose. You can stay with the chest lifted, or you can come down to your elbows, maybe bringing the head to the mat, squaring off the hips, and just finding relaxation in this pose as we challenge our flexibility, releasing the muscles, the myofascia. As this pose begins to become familiar with practice, we can have a better understanding of where we are in this pose. Regardless of how far or close your front foot is to your body or your torso from the mat, remember that you're exactly where you need to be. Accept your limitations, knowing that this is temporary. There will be change if you make the choice to keep practicing consistently. Change is a constant in our lives, and in a way, it makes accepting the current state of things easier because we know it will change. So breathe deeply here. Maybe accept any changes that are happening in your life right now that are difficult to accept. Breathe in, and on the exhale, let go. Accept what you cannot change. On our next inhale, let's lift up, tuck the back toes, and step back to three-legged dog and downward dog, pedaling out the feet. And let's switch to the left leg, lifting up to three-legged dog, and then pigeon pose. Squaring off the hips as much as we can. The back leg is extended straight out behind us. Let's continue to focus on the idea of acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean that you have to like the situation or the circumstances that you're presented with. Rather, you make peace with the way it is right now. I accept and I move on. When we can accept the situation, we can find freedom. We can let go of the negativity and the pressure to want to change the situation, which oftentimes isn't possible. But we can change what goes on within us. We are in control of our emotions, and we can choose to accept whatever it is we are resisting. Again, it doesn't mean we have to like it, but we can accept it. We can accept it, that it's just existing, that it's just that way. So breathe in and exhale. Let's lift up, tuck the back toes, three-legged dog, and downward facing dog. You can pedal out the feet or just find stillness. Holding here, and let's bend the knees and step or hop to the front of the mat, sitting back, extending the legs, flexing the feet, taking a deep breath. And let's bend the left leg, bringing the left foot to the right thigh. And reach forward. Or you can bring the left foot to the right hip crease for half lotus posture. So just bend forward from the hips as far as you can until you feel the stretch. Doesn't matter how far down or how far up. You just want to find that releasing stretch in the right hamstring. You can grab on to your knee, your ankle, your toes, or grab one wrist with the opposite hand behind your foot. Remembering to fold from the hips so we're not rounding the back. We want to protect our lower back. As you inhale, lift up slightly, and exhale, maybe release down a bit further. Just relaxing into this stretch. Enjoying this feeling of acceptance. Realizing how freeing it is. Breathing in and breathing out. Often acceptance goes hand in hand with forgiveness. So if you're ready to welcome the spirit of forgiveness and accept what happened, I encourage you to do so. However, if you don't feel ready yet, maybe just practice acceptance for now. And let's lift up, release the foot, extend it with the other foot. Maybe wiggle the legs a little bit to release any tension. And then let's bend the right knee, bringing it to the left thigh and folding over. Or you can bring the foot to the left hip crease, half lotus, and again folding over, bending from the hips. And you'll notice that one side is a bit more open or flexible than the other. That's perfectly normal. Just make sure you adapt the pose to your body's needs. My right hip is a bit more tense than the left hip, so I need to come up a little bit further. And just finding acceptance with your body is super important, especially if we want to make progress in our flexibility. When we can accept where we are, we release any pressure or tension or anything that can be forcing us to be more flexible or to be a certain way. And when we can remove that pressure, that self-inflicted obligation to do or be a certain way, it really allows us to be more aware of where we are, to love our bodies more, and just find peace with where we are. And once we remove that pressure and that negativity, that tension, we're actually able to go further. It may not be today, but it could be tomorrow. Let's lift up, release the foot, shake out the legs a little bit. And let's come into our Malasana Squat. Lifting up, extending the knees, and sitting back down into our Malasana. So it's just a sort of squat where we're pushing into our knees with the elbows, opening up the hips. The feet are about 2 hands width apart. Toes are pointed out. And we're just focusing on making the spine as long as possible, reaching up with the crown of the head to the sky. Just going deep into the hips here. Breathing deeply. Releasing any tension we may feel in the hips. And let's extend through the knees, lifting up into mountain pose, reaching up to the sky. Hands come to the heart. Let's take a moment to recenter, feeling at peace, feeling balanced. And we're going to come back down to the mat now. We're going to come to our knees using the width of the mat, and we're going to open up the knees to either side in our frog pose. So you want to make sure that your knees are bent at a 90-degree angle, your feet are flexed, and you can stay up onto your hands, come down onto your elbows, or if you're really flexible, you can come down with your chest to the mat. Wherever you are, you want to find a place that you can hold this position for a long time. We'll be holding it for a couple minutes. So let's breathe deeply. Let's accept wherever we are. Inhale and deep exhale, releasing all of the air out of the lungs. Continuing to breathe deeply. Accept how you feel right now. Acknowledge what is going on in your heart, and then let it go. Release the negative feelings and no longer give them power over you. Don't let negativity steal your inner peace. Open your mind to acceptance and letting go. Remember that you are exactly where you need to be. And let's lift up to our hands, bring the knees in closer one to the other. And we're going to come to our mat seated, extending both legs out to opposite sides of the mat, again using the width of the mat. Extending and maybe reaching for the knees, the ankles, or the toes. Finding length in the spine first. Inhale, and on the exhale, falling forward, chest towards the mat, just to the point where you feel a really nice stretch, maybe challenging yourself a bit, but not pushing or forcing anything. Just allow yourself to fall forward gently, stretching and accepting where you are right now. Know that it is okay to accept what you don't agree with. In no way does this justify or condone what happened. It simply means that you realize you cannot change the past, and you are willing to move forward and take back your power and peace. If it's the right moment for you, release that tight hold you may have on any negative emotions and let them drift away as you exhale. Let's lift up slowly and gently, bending the knees in, and let's come into our fire log pose. So the right foot is on top of the left knee, the left foot is under the right knee, and we want to try and stack the ankles on top of the knees, but if that is not accessible for you today, you can move the ankle down closer to the calf muscle, a bit lower than the knee on the shin, and just breathe into this pose. Feel the amazing benefits of the tension releasing out of your glutes, out of your hip. If you feel your foot sliding down the shin, just make a small readjustment, trying to stack it over the knee as much as possible. Just find stillness here. Accepting where you are. Accepting maybe that your right knee is not touching your left foot. And that's perfectly fine. Because wherever you are right now is exactly where you need to be. Inhale and exhale, releasing, maybe finding after a minute or two that you can release your knee down a little bit more, accepting your body, accepting yourself. Let's release, shake out the legs a little bit. And switching, bringing the left foot on top of the right knee. And again, just trying to find stillness in this pose. Adjusting your body however you need to, making this pose accessible for you. Adapting it to your body's current needs, which will change. Even for experienced yogis, our bodies change from day to day. Our needs are not always the same. Sometimes we can go deeper than the day before, and sometimes we need to come out a bit, or sometimes even skip the pose altogether. Wherever you are, just breathe deeply. Inhale and exhale. And let's release. You can shake out the legs if you want. And we're going to come to our backs onto the mat. Bringing the knees into the chest, extending them up, and then grabbing on to the feet with the hands, or you can grab on behind your knees, onto the calves, the ankles, whatever feels good in your body right now. Opening up the hips in our happy baby. Bringing the knees down toward the mat, toward the armpit, whichever direction works for you. Returning to our intention of acceptance. And let's release. Stretching to either side of the mat. And let's come into our Subtabada Kunasana. The knees are opening, releasing down to the opposite sides of the mat. Arms are at the sides of our body, relaxed, palms open. And the only movement is in our chest with our breath. Inhale positivity, peace, and acceptance. With your exhale, release the frustration and anger you may have been holding inside. Inhale again, breathing deeply, filling your lungs, your mind, and your body with positivity. Exhaling purposefully, releasing mental and physical toxicity out of your body. This is an opportunity to cultivate true happiness through acceptance. Let's begin to bring movement into the fingers and toes, waking up the body, stretching the arms up over the head, coming onto one side, and lifting up into our seated pose. Hands come over the heart, feeling your beating heart that is now open, that has welcomed acceptance. This is your moment to thank yourself for this practice and for all of the amazing work that you just did. Namaste.